Frenzy to slam dunk Ming 2 out of the Wars of Independence. And they're doing just that, and this is painful to watch. In comes Bash. They're on the left and Death Metal, of course, on the right, opening the pincers. But that damage was sustained in the very, very first attack. Although they flipped the lid, so to speak, and a gesture to suggest they were still in there fighting, they weren't. And Andrew Cottrell knew. Look, you see there's no power in the tyres at all, is there? There's nothing there at all. And they're on their way out. Ming 2. Well, we will have the Dream Team final. The Stars and Stripes and the Union Jack will be represented in the War of Independence. And it will be no Boston Tea Party, I can tell you. Ming 2 will not be there, of course.
Well, Ming may have been merciless, but now he's motionless. A frenzied attack. Frenzy go through! Problems there, eh?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was a shame, because it was a real short fight. It just stopped, and I was sitting duck, really, which is a bit of a shame, but, you know.
You were bludgeoned to death,
I was bludgeoned to death. Well, I think I died before he bludgeoned me, but I was certainly dead afterwards, if I didn't before.
It was a bit of bullying, really, because you didn't even raise a punch against him, did you? He just filled you in.
Yeah, completely failed, I'm afraid. Bit of a shame, but, you know.
Never mind.
Next year, maybe.
They've got another British robot to fight in the final. We could still claim America. We could still claim America back for the Brits, couldn't we?
We ought to, really.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Ming!
Well, one hit, and we looks like we knocked him out. And
completely battered him.
We had a few more hits, so we just to make sure he was gone.
Yeah. You looked like you were enjoying it as well. It was more like bullying, really. I mean, he was like that with his hands over his head, and you were just filling him in like that. Well, you've seen Mortis, the robot you're about to fight, to see who wins the War of Independence. A few fears there?
We'll see what happens.
Well, good luck. Good luck. I know I'm trying to whip up some xenophobia here, but, you know, if you win, you win.
USA.
May the best robot win. All right, then, let's hear it for Frenzy!
You bullies.
Us?
Yeah.
Poor little kids, they're in tears here.
Yeah, taking it out on two little boys.
Yeah.
Oh. So what happened? I mean, you cut out quite early on.
Yeah, they had lucky hit. They hit the very spot, our Achilles heel. Unfortunately, their axe is so heavy that when it hit it, it knocked out the on-off switch on the servo.
Which was just under there,
Just
wasn't
under
it?
there, yeah. Bad design.
Oh,
No.
don't say that. You've done
Paid the
incredibly
price.
well to get to the semis. I see you've been tenderised.
Yeah, very much.
And there, and there.
Yeah. Lots of loving tenderisation from our Uncle Sam friends.
Frenzy going through, poor old Ming 2, they're out. So there you have it, Mortis of the UK against Frenzy of the USA in the War of Independence final judgment.
Well, during this oh-so-violent war, we've seen some heavy casualties on both sides. Some robots have their British end flipped up, while others are no longer the American beauties they once were.
Certainly Ghetto-bot, they're not. Beaten by Mortis in the very first battle of the War of Independence. Flamed. Then Rammstein, beaten by Panic Attack in the pit. The wheels came off for Mangulator against Ming 2. Detonator, though, were pummeled by Frenzy as the States hit back. This was Mortis beating Panic Attack in the War of Independence semi-final. And Frenzy damaging Ming 2 to go through.
But now, with two robots remaining, national pride is at stake as they decide who will win this War of Independence. Hey, let the final begin!
Stand by. Flying, the Union Jack from Nottinghamshire and Cambridgeshire, Mortis, Rob Knight and Arthur Chilcott, and from the United States of America and Los Angeles, Frenzy. There at the controls, Patrick Campbell. 3, 2, 1. It started by chucking a few tea bags over the side of a ship in Boston Harbour. Occasionally, ever since, we've had our grudges. And now we have the worst of them all in Robot Wars. The War of Independence, and Mortis on the attack immediately on Frenzy. Look at the axes coming down. Oh, bang, and crash. It's the weightier weapon, that's for certain. But the more frenzied attack comes from our very own Mortis. And not forgetting Sergeant Bash and Frenzy's toppled and turned. Well, flying through the air, it seemed like a spaceship there for the minute. Comes down, though, and prepares to have a nudge at Mortis. Sergeant Bash in there as well. Locked tight on Frenzy with the claw. Now, Sergeant Bash could get involved because Frenzy was pushing the CPZ immediately by Mortis right at the start. And again, it would seem, at Frenzy, spinning around. And he is like some weird alien space saucer. But Mortis, like a great silver gleaming tank, trundles back on the attack on Frenzy. The close-up shows the axis hammering down. More control weaponry, though, from Mortis, certainly. They're trying to use the lifting arm there, you see. That can also double up as a Stream X self-righting mechanism. Frenzy is the more laboured attack, but isn't the more heavyweight attack at the moment. The Mortis shell is holding firm. Aerospace-grade materials in the Mortis team. And still the repetitive bash of the Mortis axe. Well, they've been around Robot Wars, the scene, for so many years. The Mortis boys, without really ever doing themselves justice or picking up any honours. But I think here, they've got this War of Independence. They certainly have Frenzy on the run. Can they flip them up and over using the long arm? They're over. Now can Frenzy right itself using the weapon. The soft underbelly of Frenzy is exposed. In goes the Mortis axe. It's the Woody Woodpecker song from Mortis. And Frenzy can't right themselves. Their weapon has been immobilised. And it means that Patrick Campbell's machine is now at the mercy of Mortis, all the way from Los Angeles. And certainly very creditable and credible opponents as well. Now the torch, though, of Sergeant Bash. Killalot has them in its grip and will draw Frenzy ever so slowly, but ever so surely towards the pit, I would imagine. We see it descend, and the UK Robot Wars fans make their feelings known. And also so does Bash, because I can tell you very secretly, one of his chips comes from Silicon Valley. Cease. California, here I come. Right back where I started from. Mortis are the winners of the War of Independence in this style against Frenzy into the CPZ. That meant the Sergeant could come out, and we saw the repetitive acts all the way through. Frenzy toppled over, couldn't self-right. The damage had been done, and the Union Jack flies over the Wars of Independence.
Well, that was the fight that was. And I tell you what, it was a good one. Hey, you came a long way from Los Angeles to get beaten up by a pair of good old-fashioned English hooligans.
We're ashamed to go home.
You're ashamed to go home?
We're a disgrace to our country.
What went wrong for you?
Oh, well, as soon as we lost our weapon, we basically were weaponless. We couldn't do anything.
What do you think about the standard of the British robots?
Oh, they're amazing robots. Yeah. Especially the housebots, yeah.
Well, normally Americans go, oh, well, ours are bigger and better and badder. And...
Yeah, just give us time to build something. Yeah, they'll be bigger and badder and better.
So you're going to come back for the next War of Independence and try and get America back?
Of course, of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Frenzy! Yes! Come on! You've won the competition!
After all those wars.
All those wars. All wars. Lad to deceive all the time. The great pretender to the throne.
It's finally perfect and it's now retired.
And you've won the War of Independence. Now, you're saying you're going to retire, Mortis, now?
Well, we'd already decided that before this competition, that Mortis was actually retired.
So what are you going to do with it, then? What are you going to do with it? You're going to break it up into small parts?
I do a lot of lectures in schools and, village fates, that sort of thing. We're quite heavily involved with teaching.
So don't all the kids take the mickey out and say you're from ZZ Top?
No, they don't know who ZZ Top are, mate. Then we're not. Sorry, the children are not that old, are they?
Showing my age, mate. Showing my age, Rob. It's your trophy. Show it to the audience.
Okay.
They fought long and hard. They battled for a cause, and they reclaimed America for Robot Wars. Bye-bye.
And Robot Wars is back on BBC Two on Friday at the later time of 6:45. A battle of a different kind next tonight. Gérard Depardieu continues to avenge himself on those who betrayed him in The Count of Monte Cristo.